Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Heart and Health Wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Welch, and I'm glad that you are here. If you are listening to this episode or watching it on YouTube, there's a good chance that it's because you've recently lost your pet, and I'm really sorry. I went through this myself just over a month ago. I had to make the very difficult decision of putting down my beloved kitty cat, Skeeter, and he was almost 15 years old, and I had him for a wonderful 14 years, and he was my first baby and saw me through so many different chapters of life, and I miss him terribly. When I had to make that decision, it was really, really difficult. I hadn't had to make that decision before with a pet. My family's had to do it, but I've never personally had to make that decision for a pet of my own. And so it was a new experience, and it was hard for all the reasons you would expect. When I was struggling, I was at peace with my decision. I knew I made the right decision. My brain logically understood that, but my body hurt and was grieving. And I recently learned about something called EFT tapping. And so today I want to just briefly tell you about EFT tapping and how I was able to use it to help with my grief. And it made a tremendous difference for me. I went from not being able to think about it without just totally falling apart to being able to sit with it. And I still cry sometimes when I'm thinking about it, especially when my toddler asks me about him. It's really hard to hold it together. But tapping has been something that has helped me, not just with this, but with other things as well. When I was going through this, I was looking for an EFT script, and I just couldn't find one for pet loss or for facing decisions with euthanasia. And so I asked ChatGPT to make a script for me, and it did a wonderful job of putting together a script for me. I really liked it. It was very helpful. So today I want to share that script with you. So if you are either trying to make this decision and wondering what to do and struggling with that, or you recently made this decision for a pet and you're still struggling with processing that grief, I hope that this will help you like it helped me. So like I said, logically, I know that I made the right decision because he wasn't getting better and he's going to continue to decline. But emotionally, it was just still really hard and heavy. And so there's a lot of grief, and some people talk about the different stages of grief, and there's some validity to that, of that experience. But I think it's also important to remember, when you think about grief, you don't necessarily have to go through all of those stages, and you're not going to go through the stages of grief in some specific order, and grief comes and it goes and it hits you like a wave. Anyways, there's not one right way or wrong way to do it. So I also want to be clear that I'm not saying that you shouldn't cry or you shouldn't be grieving intensely when you're saying goodbye to a pet, because they're like our family. But there are healthy ways to grieve without avoiding the emotion. And sometimes using something like EFT tapping can help you walk through that process without avoiding it. And if you've ever had to make that decision for a pet, you know what I'm talking about. You feel my pain. You might cry through this episode. That's totally okay. I was bawling when I went through the first couple of rounds of this. So just know that's very, very normal. And like I said, I just wanted to create something that I wish I had in that moment. I was able to use my resources, figure it out, make something come together, but it would have been nice to just have something together already. So that was the intention behind recording this episode. So we're going to do an EFT tapping practice together. It's focused on grief, doubt, releasing any guilt after having to say goodbye to a pet. And I also want to note that this is specific to, or at least it was specific to euthanasia when I had to make this decision. But anytime you have to say goodbye to a pet, you can morph this and edit it so that it fits your situation and it feels aligned with what you're experiencing. I do want to note that I'm not going to be spending a lot of time here teaching you about EFT in this episode. I might do another episode later where I really dive into it more, but there are some really great resources out there like the Tapping Solution. There's a podcast called The Tapping Solution and also an app that walk you through the basics and do a really good job of teaching you what it is and how it works, and also have some free scripts or guides that you can follow. But just know that if you are someone who already has some familiarity, this will feel really good to you. And even if it's new to you and you just want to kind of follow along to see how it goes, you're welcome to try it out and experience it. So I just want you to think of this as a guided emotional processing tool. And it's a way to help your nervous system catch up with what your brain already knows to be true. I want to take a quick moment to share about a brand that I genuinely love. We are Ama. They're a women-owned company that creates the most meaningful, beautiful pieces for moms. I personally wear my cocoon all the time. It started as a breastfeeding cover, but now I use it as a shawl and scarf, especially when it's cooler outside. And my halo necklace is one of those pieces that I never take off. It's simple, meaningful, and feels really special. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a new mom or something just for you, you can save 15% with the code of Melissa, Melissa. I'll link everything in the show notes below. Like I said, my brain knew that I made the right decision and that it's what we needed to do. My heart and my body, however, were really, really struggling with that. So if you're in a place where you can just pause and settle in, you can tap along with me. If you're driving, you can do this while driving. I did it while driving. But I do think there's benefit in trying to do it when you can be still and totally present, maybe even close your eyes. Okay. So when I walk through an EFT practice, I do several different points. So I start with the karate chop on the side of the hand, move to the eyebrow, outer eye, under the nose, under the chin, then the collarbone, might be hard to see me, collarbone, and then under your arm, right on the bra line, and then the top of the head. Okay. You can use one hand, you can use two hands. There's a lot of variability. EFT tapping involves the language that you're using, speaking out loud, reframing things. It involves deep breath, and it involves the tapping on the meridian points, which is the same thing used in acupuncture. So not a perfect way to do it, but those are the pieces of the EFT tapping puzzle that I use. All right. So let's just go ahead and transition by just trying to be still, noticing where you are. So I want you to go ahead and take a slow breath in through the nose and a long breath out with the mouth. I have my feet crossed. Go ahead and uncross your feet and just notice them on the floor. Notice your body in the chair. And there's nothing to fix right now, nothing to solve. This is grief. And grief means that love existed. I want you to go ahead and start tapping on the side of your hand and repeat after me, or just listen. Even though I had to make the decision to put him down, and part of me keeps wondering if the timing was right, I deeply and completely honor my love and my grief. Even though I logically know it made sense, but emotionally it feels unbearable, I choose to hold compassion for myself in this pain. Even though I miss him so much, and the silence feels heavy, I acknowledge that this hurts because he mattered. Take a breath. Eyebrow point. This ache in my chest, side of your eye, I miss him so much. Under the eye, 14 years. Under the nose, he was part of my everyday life. Chin, and now he's not here. Collarbone, the house feels different. Under the arm, there's this quiet. Top of the head, and it hurts. Take a moment to pause and breathe. Eyebrow, what if it was too soon? Side of the eye, what if I could have waited? Under the eye, did I do the right thing? Nose, was the timing right? Chin, my brain keeps replaying it. Collarbone, looking for certainty. Under your arm, looking for reassurance. Head, wanting 100% peace. Take a breath. Before we go into the next round, I want to just pause for a second, because the questioning that you're feeling, the looping of your thoughts and the searching that you're doing, it is incredibly common. And your brain is trying to protect you by looking for certainty. But grief doesn't come with certainty. So we're not trying to force the doubt away. We are just making space for something else to exist alongside it. Round 3. I made the best decision I could. With the information that I had. Under your eye, with the love that I had. Under your nose, and with his comfort in mind. Chin, he wasn't getting better. Collarbone, he was going to decline. Under your arm, and I chose to prevent more suffering. Top of your head, that is love. That is love. Deep breath in and out. Eyebrow, maybe the doubt is just grief. The side of the eye, not proof that I did it wrong. Under your eye, maybe this questioning. Under your nose, is my heart struggling to let go? Chin, not evidence of failure. Collarbone, I did not betray him. Under your arm, I protected him. Top of your head, I loved him all the way to the end. Take a deep breath. Eyebrow, 14 beautiful years. Side of the eye, he knew my voice. Under the eye, my routines. Under your nose, my presence. Chin, he felt safe with me. Collarbone, he was cared for. Under the arm, he was not alone. On top of the head, he was loved. Pause here. Take a breath. Eyebrow, it's safe to grieve. Side of the eye, it's safe to miss him. Under the eye, it's safe to cry. Under your nose, and it's safe to trust myself. Chin, I made a compassionate decision. Collarbone, I acted from love. Under the arm, love guided me. Top of the head, and love remains. Pause and take a deep breath. One more, nice and slow. To close, go ahead and put one hand on your heart. You can close your eyes if you'd like. You can either say this out loud or quietly to yourself. Grief is the price of deep love. I would choose those 14 years again. I release the need for perfect certainty. I trust that I acted with compassion. I allow myself to mourn and to remember. And when the doubt comes back, because it probably will, you can come back to this and you can tap again. If you're listening to this because you're going through something similar, I just want to tell you that you're not alone in this. And as you can see, as much as I have processed it and grieved it, it still comes back. It still feels fresh at times. Tapping helps. It's healthy to open the emotion and come back to it. Take care of yourself when you're in it. Another good thing to do that I didn't mention at the beginning is to just kind of notice where it's in your body and rate it on a score of 1 to 10. 1 being really calm and 10 being really intense and overwhelmed and uncomfortable. Rate that. And then after each round, kind of notice where you are on that scale to see if it moves down at all, especially by the end. I can say when we start this at the beginning, I feel like 6 or 7. By the time we finish, I'm down to like a 3 or a 4. There's not a right or a wrong way of doing that. But I think it can be helpful to just kind of notice how it's helping in that scalable way. But just know that that doubt that you might be experiencing doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision. It means that you loved your pet very much. You loved them deeply. And if this was helpful for you, you can save this episode so that you can come back to it when you need it and the grief hits. Or if you know someone who's experiencing pet loss right now and grieving, you can certainly share it with them. They might need it. Because like I said, I couldn't find anything like this that existed already. So if you know someone who would benefit from it, this is a nice to have. And if you want more tools like this that are very just simple evidence-based ways to support your nervous system and your emotional health, follow along. I share lots of that. And I'm about to start sharing a series of interviewing some working moms and what their experience is like going back to work after maternity leave. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned for that. I'm going to get those started in May. I'm doing the interviews now, but I'm going to start posting them in May. It's April now. If you're listening to this at a later time, and it's past May, those should be available to you. Anyways, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, just know that it's not always this deep and heavy, and I most certainly do not cry on most episodes, but this is a unique situation. And again, it was just a resource that I needed in that moment and didn't find, so I wanted to make it available to anybody else who might benefit from it. Anyways, all that to be said, I'm really glad that you were here with me today. I hope this was helpful to you. Leave a comment, send me a message, let me know. I always like hearing from you. And if you want other tapping scripts or things like that, let me know that too. We might do a couple more different topics that I've been using that I find helpful. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, take care of yourself and be well.